gonna get started on our kitchen basic roast chicken, and this is actually the beginning of a series, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking protein and we're going to be cooking it in a big way, and then we're going to be turning it into several different meals. So today is the beginning of that, but we're starting off with a kitchen basic. So this is how to roast a chicken, and I'm gonna spatchcock this chicken so that it roasts in about an hour or less. I'm actually roasting off 2 of these roasters. There's a roaster is a large chicken. You can use whatever kind of size chicken that you like, and listen, you can even go just buy a couple of rotisserie chickens that are already cooked for you if that's what you have time to do. No judgment there. But I wanted to go over the basics of how I roast a chicken. It's super simple, and it's really too simple not to know how to do if you have never roasted your own. Now we're going to be roasting this in an oven. I have my oven preheated at 400 degrees, and then we're going to back it off to 350 after the first 20 minutes. So here's my roaster. I took it out of the package, I took the stuff from the inside out, and I rinsed it inside and out. With poultry, you want to make sure you wash things. We're going to be spatchcocking it, which means we're going to be lying it flat on the baking sheet to cook. This is going to decrease your cooking time by about half. So what you want to do is you want to turn your chicken over, so you want the breast side to be down. You'll see this would be the neck, and this would be the tail. So if this were alive, you know, the chicken would be like walking around like that. Okay? So what you want to do is you want to take a good sharp pair of kitchen shears. You're going to want to start snipping down one side of the spine. And this is why it's important that your kitchen shears be sharp, because this is kind of a daunting task. But if you use a nice sharp pair, and I just sharpened these before I started using them for this task. Snip all the way down to what we call the parson's nose right here. And then you're going to cut away the skin just to release it. You want to make sure, here we go, your inside is not going to look pretty, okay? So just be warned. Now I like to go ahead and turn it over this way because I have a better time doing it if the spine is on this side. Do it up the other side. And don't take too much of that thigh with you, but sometimes that happens. Now you can hold on to this backbone and you can freeze it, and you can use it for stock later, or you can just toss it. It's up to you. This does make for a great stock, okay? Alright, now we want to have a look. I'm going to cut off this piece of skin here because I won't be needing it. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab another paper towel, and I'm just going to wipe out the inside because there's little pieces in here that I don't need in here. So flip it back over just like that, and with all your might press down and crack this breastbone. If you have to, flip it over this way. Sometimes they're stubborn.
Just give it CPR for a little while.
Right, well, it will crack. It did crack, you just didn't hear it. Sometimes you can take your knife and help it along. There you go. That's what you want it to do. You see that? That's how you want it to look. You want this breastbone to be released from that cartilage. Now I'm going to go get my baking sheet, and I'll show you how I'm going to put it on there. Alright, I went ahead and I just laid the chicken out flat on my baking sheet. I have this covered with non-stick aluminum foil, and we're going basic today. We're not going to even put a rack on it because it just isn't really necessary. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tuck the wingtips underneath, just like this. This is going to keep everything nice and orderly as it roasts, okay? Alright, now I'm going to remove one of my gloves, and I have a seasoning blend over here. This is my homemade poultry seasoning, along with some added roasted garlic powder and my Hungarian Szeged chicken seasoning. the chicken rub that I absolutely adore. This combination is one of my favorites for roasting a chicken. Now I have enough here to do both chickens. You want to go ahead and you want to season this liberally. And just kind of pat that in so everything kind of gets nicely covered with that seasoning. I love a well-seasoned chicken, even though you may not eat the skin, but the skin on this is going to be delicious. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drizzle this a little bit with some olive oil. The chicken will render its own fat, so it's not really that important, but I feel like it gives the skin an extra crispiness, and it does add to the flavor as well. Tops, that's a tablespoon per bird, okay? These are going to roast in the oven at 400 degrees for 20 minutes, at which time I'm going to turn down the heat to 350, and I'm going to roast them for an additional 40 minutes. So these are going to be in the oven for at least an hour, or until a meat thermometer inserted in the thickest part of the thigh registers 160 degrees. At which point we will take them out and let them rest for another 20 minutes before we cut them up and enjoy them. So I'll be back when these come out of the oven. And there you go. These just came out of the oven. Here's one, and then over here, and there's another. Now I tested these with the meat thermometer and they are well into the range of 160 degrees. Now you want to take it right here at the thickest part of the thigh. You also want to take it in the breast, but make sure you don't touch bone when you're taking the temperature with the meat thermometer, because that's going to give you an inaccurate reading. Now what you want to do is let these chickens rest before you slice into them to serve them for dinner. Okay, we allowed our chicken to rest, and then I went ahead and I broke it down. So I just cut all the pieces into nice, pretty parts. We're going to take 2 of these chicken breasts, we're going to slice them long ways, and then everybody will take what they want. But the rest of the chicken that's going to be left over from dinner is going to go into a Ziploc bag. I'm going to probably shred some of it and cube some of it. That is how we start out our series with roast chicken in the lead. We're going to be making salsa verde sour cream enchiladas, and this is going to serve 4 people. We're going to make 2 enchiladas per person, so I have 8 fajita-sized flour tortillas. I have 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. I have 2 cups of shredded chicken. We have 2 cups of sour cream. I have 1 cup of a salsa verde salsa, like a green chili salsa. I have 1 cup of pepper jack cheese shredded and 1 cup of sharp cheddar cheese shredded. Take our chicken and put it in a bowl, and I'm going to take the sharp cheddar and I'm going to mix it in just by hand. And yes, I know I probably should have put this in a larger bowl. So there we've mixed our cheddar cheese and our chicken. Easy peasy. Now let's build our sauce. So we're going to take our cream of chicken soup and our sour cream and our salsa verde or green chili salsa goes right in there. Go ahead and get yourself a whisk and get as much of that sauce off of there as you can and just blend this up. It smells incredible. Now what I want to do is I want to take a little bit of this sauce and I want to mix it in with the chicken and the cheese. We're going to say maybe a cup. Just go ahead and mix that chicken and cheese and that sauce all together. Now let's roll some enchiladas. So what I think I want to do is grab me a tablespoon, and you're going to want to make sure that you have an even amount. When you roll an enchilada, you do not want to overstuff it because it becomes unruly, and you want to roll these up real tight. And then I have a foil pan right here and just set it on down in there. Okay, we're on our last one. And you see I'm kind of folding it over and then tightening it up and just rolling it nice and tight. Now, if you do it the right way, you can fit 8 of them in that casserole dish. So now you want to take this sauce right on top, spread it out. These are going to be saucy and delicious. And as this cooks, it's going to cook down into all those crevices in between the enchiladas, and it's going to be wonderful. Now I'm going to take the 1 cup of pepper jack cheese. I'm going to go ahead and put this in a 350 degree preheated oven for about 30 minutes, 45 maybe. You're just going to want to check it. You're going to want these to be bubbly. You're going to want the cheese to be melted. And you're going to notice that the sour cream sauce kind of may look cracked a little bit. And that's when you know everything's going to be ready and perfect to eat. So I'll be back when these are ready to serve. Okay, there you have it. Our enchiladas were in the oven for 30 minutes. At which point I checked them and they were beautiful, they were bubbly, and they were this golden hue on the top, and the cheese was melted, and the sauce is creamy, and it has seeped into all those little crevices and nooks and crannies, and I couldn't be more pleased. I dished up a serving. This would be lovely to take to a potluck supper. It doesn't break the bank, and I think you're really gonna love it. The cheese has melted, and like I said, this sauce has made everything beautiful. That is how you make a delicious pan of salsa verde sour cream enchiladas for your family. And you're gonna serve between 4 to 6, I think, with this. I think that is a generous serving. What I've done is, with the 2 enchiladas is definitely a generous serving, but you know, you could feed 8 people if everyone only ate 1. If you rounded it out with maybe some beans and rice, or some other things, you have a salad on the side, and it's a delicious meal. At home, Mexican takeout night, it's gonna be great. All right, we're gonna get started making this chicken and stuffing casserole, where we're gonna use up some of that roasted chicken we made the other night, where we spatchcocked it and roasted it. It was absolutely beautiful and delicious, moist and juicy. And what we have is some of that chicken. We also had a side of stuffing that night, and I made 2 boxes on purpose. Yes, I used box stuffing mix. And this is the leftovers, so we have enough to top our casserole. If you don't have leftover stuffing, I suggest you make just a box of your favorite, like stovetop or store brand stuffing mix, where you just boil the water and the butter and you add the cubes and the seasonings. Really, really awesome. So what you're gonna start with is 2 cups of chopped chicken, and I have chopped mine pretty fine, and I've got a thigh and half of a breast in here. I have 2 cups worth, or about 8 ounces, because I bought a 16-ounce carton of mushrooms, but these are just sliced cremini mushroom, 1 cup of diced onion, a cup of chopped celery, and this ends up being about 3 small stalks, and a cup of carrot. Now I buy my carrots in the matchstick shreds. I just laid these on the cutting board and I gave them a run through with my knife. And this is a can of condensed cream of celery soup. You can use cream of celery or cream of chicken, cream of onion, cream of whatever you like that you have on hand. So we're also going to use a half a cup of milk and a teaspoon of poultry seasoning. I'm going to be making this in an 8-inch square pan. You can use a baking dish, you can use an iron skillet, whatever you have. We're also going to be using a couple of tablespoons of butter, and we're going to saute all the veggies off. All right, I went ahead and I sauteed the veggies. I figured you guys could handle that and didn't need to see me do it, but I went ahead and I sauteed these in 2 tablespoons of butter. I gave it a sprinkle of salt and pepper, and you can do that to taste. You can leave the salt out. You don't have to put anything in there. You make this yours. I'm gonna add my chicken in. I'm not gonna be too worried about getting all of this sauteed together because we're gonna go ahead and throw this in the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. And the chicken's already cooked and now the veggies are cooked. And even if you don't think your vegetables are quite soft enough, don't worry because they're gonna get the treatment with the soup. It's all gonna cook for another half an hour anyway. There goes my poultry seasoning. We'll give that a toss so nobody gets a giant clump of that. And then I'm gonna just go ahead and add in my cream of celery soup. This is a can of soup and a half a cup of milk, and go ahead and just give this a good stir and get everything really well incorporated. And we'll go ahead and we'll get this right into this pan here. Now I'm just gonna take my leftover stuffing that's already prepared, and I can sprinkle it on there or I can just dump it and then I can spread it. That's as hard as that gets. I'm gonna pop this into a 350-degree oven for 25 to 30 minutes until it is bubbly and the stuffing is a little bit crispy on top. When it's ready to come out, I'll bring it back and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, here is our chicken and stuffing casserole. It is hot out of the oven. I just took it out of the oven. It is kind of subsided in its bubbling, but it's perfect. The stuffing got a little bit crispy on top. You can kind of hear it. Tap, tap, tap. But I'm gonna spoon some into a dish for you so you can see what it looks like. And it's perfect. You see how it's not too runny? and everybody's going to be able to enjoy that. Oh, look at that. And this is going to serve at least 4 people, and it just looks lovely. And that's it. Today we're going to do a Hawaiian barbecue chicken pizza, and we're going to do a buffalo chicken pizza. So really, these are super easy. I made my pizza dough recipe. This is my big batch pizza dough recipe, and I already put them out on the pans, and I just spread some barbecue sauce, whatever your favorite is. I have a great recipe for almost Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce on the channel, and a lot of people love that. I also have a really great Jamaican jerk Caribbean style barbecue sauce that is equally as delicious. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to build our pizza. We're just going to go ahead and put some mozzarella cheese. And I'm not going to do a recipe for this because I'm pretty sure all y'all can figure out how to make a pizza, and you all have your own favorite cheese blends and stuff that you like to do. This is just traditional mozzarella. The only thing that I like to do a little bit different with my chicken pizza is I do like to throw a little cheddar or Monterey Jack cheese on there. So what I have here is I have shredded 1 chicken breast from our roast chicken dinner. So we're going to use half of this chicken meat for 1 pizza, and we're going to use the other half for our buffalo chicken pizza. And you can see there's plenty of chicken on this pizza, and there's plenty of chicken left for the other pizza, which is over here. So what I did was I just have some pineapple slices in a can that I drained. And if you want, you can put some red onion and some bell pepper on here, but today I'm keeping it really simple. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add, that's 1 pizza ready to go in the oven. I'm going to throw it in there now. Up next, what I have here is a traditional buffalo wing sauce. This is just a cup of Frank's hot sauce and a half a stick of melted butter that I whisked together. Now, this is an optional step I'm going to give you. I'm going to get my instant clear gel out because this is a little bit runny, and I think I want this to be a little bit thicker. So I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of clear gel in here, and I'm going to stir it up. And you should see it begin to thicken up just a little, but it's going to have a little more body to it. You can see right now it's nice and thick. Now, instant clear gel is a modified food starch. It's lovely. You can use it for hot and cold applications. This is not the kind of clear gel that you would use for home canning. Okay, so that is the perfect consistency for a pizza style sauce, and that is exactly what we're looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this buffalo sauce.
You can smell it.
It smells like buffalo sauce, right? Mm-hmm. You put as little or as much as you personally like. We're going to go ahead and go in with the mozzarella cheese. Just like that. And then we'll go in with our chicken. And I'm going to put some cheddar on top of this one too. If you have specific toppings or seasonings that you like to put on your pizza, you should do that at this time. But what I would like to point out is that I made 2 pizzas with 1 cooked chicken breast that I just shredded by hand. That's a real bargain. Homemade pizza is super cheap to make, and if you haven't tried making it on your own, this is a great way to use leftovers. You can use just about anything on top of a pizza and make it delicious. So I'm going to put this in the oven at the same time as the barbecue chicken pizza, and I'll be back when they're ready to come out. And there you go. Chicken pizza 2 ways. We've got our kind of Hawaiian chicken barbecue pizza and our buffalo chicken pizza. They smell amazing. The crust is crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside, and it's a little bit thick. I think it's going to be delicious.
Perfect, yes.
Chicken pizza 2 ways. Literally, we made this with 1 chicken breast shredded, made 16 slices of pizza. This is going to make everybody happy. We're gonna get ready to put together this delicious citrus chicken superfood salad. With the rest of the shredded chicken, we're gonna add the addition of a grain in some cooked This is a quinoa medley that also has amaranth and buckwheat in it. We're gonna be adding a lot of things that have a lot of really great nutrition, and this is great for a take to work lunch. This is great for a light lunch at home. This is great for a super healthy dinner if you're trying to lighten up at the beginning of the new year and kind of get back on track after that rich, decadent holiday we all probably had. So what I have here is a blend of kale. This is just some chopped fresh kale and baby spinach, along with a handful of matchstick carrots that I threw in here for good measure. I've sliced up some these are sweet baby bell peppers, and I sliced up. These are filled with great nutrition, red, yellow, and orange. You can use green ones if you like. I've got some dried cranberries here, and this is some supremes of citrus, orange and grapefruit and tangerine, and this actually just came out of a can that I bought in the canned fruit section of my grocery store. I drained off the majority of the juice. I have some cherry tomatoes here, and I have a mixture of some seeds. I have chia, hemp, and sunflower seeds. You can also add some walnuts or pecans to your salad if you like. That's your choice. And I have the last of the shredded chicken. I have about 1.5 cups of shredded chicken here. This is going to be enough for everybody to make their own salad. I'm going to make a salad in a separate dish just so I can show you what it looks like. And then this is my orange citrus vinaigrette, and we're going to just top everything off with that for some great flavor. This is going to be my serving of salad, so you want to make sure you get a lot of those great greens in here. There's plenty of greens here for 4 people to have a very healthy salad, dinner salad. And we'll go ahead and we'll add some of this shredded chicken. And when you do it like this, you really aren't going to put a ton of meat. There's plenty of meat here for 4 people to put in their salad. So what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to put some of this quinoa, because that's going to mix in with my greens, and it's going to make a really great addition to your salad. And from here, everyone can build their salad however they like. I'm going to go ahead and add some of these pepper rings, some dried cranberries. These are going to add a nice, sweet, tangy bite. I am not a huge fan of grape tomatoes in my salad, but I'm going to put a few in there anyway. And then I'm going to put some citrus on top. We're going to be adding that citrus vinaigrette. This is going to add such a nice, fresh addition to your salad. And now I'll go ahead and add a little bit of this dressing. And this dressing is super flavorful. It's got olive oil and white wine vinegar and orange juice and orange zest. And you add as much or as little dressing there as you prefer. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of these seeds. And there you have it. All right, we're going to start our chicken soup with all of the carcass and the bones and the skin and everything that I saved off of the chicken as I used it. Now the carcasses I put in the freezer right away, and the bones and stuff I've been collecting as we use the chicken throughout our little series, and everything is now in the pot. So what we want to do now is basically going to make a stock, and then we're going to make our soup from the stock, because we're going to need to pull the bones out of here after it's done, and then we'll use that to make our soup. And we'll probably pull from here and add some frozen vegetables and maybe some cubed potatoes, and whatever chicken falls off the bone will be in there. And then we'll add noodles, or maybe we'll get 2 meals of soup out of this, and we'll have noodle soup one night and gnocchi soup another. So now we're going to build our stock, and we're going to add some aromatics and some seasonings, some herbs and some salt, and we're going to fill this with water, fresh, clear, cold water, and we're going to make a delicious stock that we can make our soup from. So what I have here is some chopped garlic. I'm probably not going to use all of it. So a couple of tablespoons of that. I have in here 2 tablespoons of dried parsley, a teaspoon of dried marjoram, a half teaspoon of dried thyme, a bay leaf or 2, a teaspoon of black peppercorn, a teaspoon of dried sage, and 2 teaspoons of Himalayan pink salt. You can use whatever salt you like. Our vegetables, our aromatics. I have some carrots that need to be used up, because you can see they look a little bit dried out from being in my produce drawer. Perfect application. Throw them in the soup pot. 1 large sweet onion, about 4 stalks of celery that I roughly chopped with the greens, and this is a half of a large lemon that I just chunked up. Into the pot it goes. Now we're gonna fill this with water to cover, and everything will kind of settle in there. Moved my pot to my large burner on my stove, and what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna bring this up to a simmer, and then once that, well, we're gonna bring it up to a boil. When it comes to a boil, we're going to just let it simmer for, I don't know, 3-4 hours, and then we're gonna take the bones out of it. I'll bring you back and I'll show you what it looks like before we proceed to remove the bones, because all the meat will fall off of there. So we're gonna bring this to a boil. We're gonna let it simmer for a good long time until we have chicken soup, and then we're gonna take out the bones and we're going to proceed with making our delicious soup for dinner. So I'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like before we take the bones out. Our soup has been simmering away for about 3 hours. And now the work begins, because the simmering was easy. But now we have to take all these bones and little cartilage pieces like this. Nobody wants to eat that. I don't want to eat it, so I don't want anybody else in my house to have to eat it. And there are tiny little bones in here from the rib cage of the carcasses that we used. And well, you know, my kids are older and they know to be careful, and I'll make sure everyone knows to be mindful that there might be bones in here. I still want to get as many as I can out of here as possible. You can see that these bones have given up everything pretty much. These bones are clean, and that's how we want them. So I'm going to take some time and I'm just going to go through here. You can also see the big pieces of meat that came off that carcass. Now I left a generous amount of meat. I'm also going to take these lemons out of here as well. I left a generous amount of meat on this carcass, on both carcasses, with the intention of using it to make soup. This is like super concentrated now. All these bones have kind of cooked down and given up all of that roasty flavor and all of its goodness into the soup pot. I'll be back in just a little while and I'll show you how this all turns out, and we have it for dinner. All right, it's time to eat our chicken soup. I went ahead and I boiled up a bag of egg noodles, and this is how we do it here, is I never cook the noodles, well, I should say I very seldom cook the noodles in the soup, because if I have leftover soup, those noodles that are in there are gonna get mushy, and I might wanna do something different with the soup later. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the noodles in the bowl, and then I'm going to ladle over some of our beautiful chicken soup and get some of that beautiful broth. The broth just tastes perfect, and we'll see how much we have after everybody gets their serving, if we have enough for another meal, or maybe something we can do to make another meal out of. So I'm just gonna bring this over to the counter and I'll show you what it looks like. So there you go, a delicious hot and steamy bowl of chicken soup that you made from what a lot of people may have just thrown in the trash. So that goes to show you exactly how far you can stretch the meat and bones from 2 chickens that you roasted a week ago and feed your entire family of 4. This is phenomenal soup. It's super rich. The broth is delicious because that meat was previously roasted and those bones literally gave up everything they had. I hope you give this a try. I hope you especially give this soup a try when you're all over making all the other delicious recipes that we've presented, and I hope that you love each and every one of them.